Welcome everyone. Inshallah, we're going to be starting in just a few minutes. If we can ask all of our faith leaders and elected officials to please take a seat in the front, God willing. We will be starting just in a few moments.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Good evening in peace and blessing to all of you. I'm sorry, I just have to take my mask out. It's really hard for me to talk. I hope it's okay with all of you. First of all, I would like to welcome every one of you to our annual annual Interfaith Iftar here at Maryam Islamic Center. I would like to thank our religious leaders, our elected officials, every one of you over here, our ISGH leadership. I really appreciate you making it over here. It is a difficult time that we're all going through, but we sincerely feel very happy and blessed to be able to host this event and have something of this sort after a while. We missed last year, and that was something that we really missed and we regretted, but thankfully we're here. This is the month of Ramadan, a month of peace, a month of blessings, a month of worship. It's also a month of mercy. And so the theme for tonight is Mercy for Humanity. I'd like to get started right away by inviting our own Aisha Abdul Jalil to come forward, recite a few verses of the Quran, and offer the translation for it. Aisha? Okay. Here.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, I'm going to recite from Surah Hujurat, ayah number 13. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى الخبير صدق الله العظيم. O mankind, we have created you from male and a female and have placed you in different nations and tribes so that you may come to know one another. Verily, the closest to God is the one who is the most conscious of him. Verily, God is the all-knowing and ever aware.
Thank you so much for those beautiful words of the Quran, Hafidha Aisha. Welcome to all our esteemed guests, our religious leadership, our elected individuals. Thank you for coming to the Maryam Islamic Center Interfaith Iftar. We hold this iftar every year, and we are so grateful that you have come to break our fast with us. The Maryam Islamic Center Interfaith team has been welcoming delegations from all over Houston, of all different faiths, to learn about our religion here at this beautiful center. One thing that I love about Interfaith Iftars and Interfaith Dialogue is that we come to learn that there are so many similarities that we have with one another that far supersede our differences. Maryam Islamic Center itself is actually named after Mary, the mother of Jesus, peace be upon him. And as you break your iftar with us tonight, you will be eating a traditional date. And I want to tell you a little story about the date before we break later on this evening. When Mary is with child and she is in the pangs of labor, she is near a date palm tree, and she is told, while she is in this very difficult situation, to shake the tree and the dates will fall. And she shakes the tree and the dates do fall, and she is nourished and she is given the strength to be able to finish the labor and deliver her child, Jesus. And it is amazing that this story is in the Quran, in the chapter of Mary, Maryam, because it shows that there is strength in human beings. We have the ability to change our situations, but along that path, along every step of that path, God and his mercy is there. Because a pregnant woman, as all of us know, can't shake a palm tree. None of us can probably shake a palm tree. And so God gives us small steps that we can take, gives us the ability to take small action, and he carries us through the rest of the way. I wanted to share this small story with you so that tonight when you break your fast with us, you remember the date and some of the similarities we have. I will be the host for tonight. My name is Safiya Rabbit, and I'm the female religious director here at Maryam Islamic Center. And I would encourage you all of our speakers, we would appreciate you to keep your speeches within 5 minutes so that we can break on time, as we have a lot of hungry people in the audience. I would like to introduce our first guest, Pastor William Starkweather. He is the senior pastor at St. Martin's Evangelical Lutheran Church. Welcome.
Good evening. Can y'all hear me okay with the mask on? Fabulous. Good evening. It's so good to be with you this evening. Thank you for the invitation to join you. This is my first iftar. I'm sure that's hard for some of you to believe. But I'm learning so much. I'm learning a new tradition about Mary. That's one that I've not encountered in the Christian scriptures. It's a beautiful story. But one of the things that I've come to learn about iftar is this is a time of breaking the fast. And it's reminding me how much we have in common, because breaking our fast is an important part of Christian worship too. You might think, if you're familiar with Christian worship, that I'm talking about the Holy Eucharist, receiving the bread and wine at the table, but I'm not. Because every Christian church I've ever been associated with has some form of the repast after worship. Maybe it's just coffee and donuts. Maybe it's a 12 or 13 course meal if you're from a Southern Baptist church. You know what I'm talking about. But breaking bread together is an incredibly powerful thing. And the power in it is not in what we eat, but in what we're sharing together. And so many churches call this the fellowship hour. That when we've come together and we've worshiped, when we've heard the scriptures, when we've been reminded of what God has done for us, then we break our fast together. And we share together in this time of fellowship. I'm reminded that in the Christian scriptures, food was deeply important. Jesus, one of the things that they said about Jesus was that he spent too much time eating with sinners and tax collectors, that he spent too much time with undesirable people. But it's that time spent together that helps us learn that there's no one who is truly undesirable in God's eyes. When we talk about mercy for humanity, the verse that comes to my mind comes from the Hebrew Scriptures. He has shown you, O man, what is required. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God? That humility comes from knowing each other. That mercy begins by sharing fellowship together, by learning more about each other, by knowing one another deeply. Not just as a person next door who I don't talk to, but people who share our lives together. People who know more than just a name, that see in each other's eyes the face of the divine. It's hard to have mercy for someone that we don't know. It's easy to hate someone who I don't know, who I've never talked to, but when we start to get to know one another, when we've sat across table from each other and broken bread together, it's very difficult to hate someone whom you've eaten with. It's very difficult to be afraid of someone whom you've broken bread with. It's very difficult to keep a distance from someone who has fed not just your body, but your spirit. Not just with food, but with fellowship. So I'm grateful for this opportunity, this Interfaith Iftar. This time that we can break our fast together, not just the physical fast, but time of fasting from fellowship together. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share a time of learning, that I learn so much every time I come here, and that hopefully there is learning from me as well. Thank you for this opportunity to break our fast together. Ramadan Mubarak.
Thank you so much, Pastor William Starkweather. Next, I would like to call up Pastor David Sincere, who is the pastor at Fort Bend Transformation Church.
It is definitely an honor to be here, us fellowshipping one with another on this special occasion to break the fast. It amazes me that there's so much division in the world, but today I see Muslims and Christians standing together for justice. Mercy for humanity. We must ask ourselves, what does that mean? What does it mean to show mercy for humanity? You see, the God that I serve, I know that that God wants us to show mercy for humanity by how we show love for one another. The God that I serve, he's not concerned about race or class or color, because at the end of the day, we're all human. make mistakes. We all do things that we should not do. And that is the reason why we should show each other mercy. If a person has done something that they should not do and they're able to confess and acknowledge that wrong and come to us and ask for forgiveness, should we not show them mercy? You see, I believe that the world would be a better place. We would have a better America, a better Texas, a better Fort Bend County if we stop demonizing one another, stop the hate, stop the division, and learn a little bit more, and even a lot more about each other. What I want to do today is appeal to your higher sense of consciousness. There's a text in the Bible that tells us to love God with all of our hearts, our soul, our mind, and our body. And it says the second of the greatest of the commandments is to love my neighbor as myself. Who is my neighbor? You're my neighbor. You're my neighbor. You're my neighbor. And you're my neighbor. And if I can learn to love you like I love God and like he loved me, and we learn to love one another and not just talk about it, but to actualize it, to be neighbors, we can make this world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor David Sincere, for that beautiful prayer. I would like to introduce our own Senior Religious Director at Maryam Islamic Center, Imam Ahmed Khan.
You know, as my brother David Sincere was mentioning, I thought about Mr. Rogers. Thank you, good neighbor. But something profound about Mr. Rogers, in actuality, that many don't know about, is that one of his co-workers was actually harassed, and he was of African American descent. And so on the television show that is watched by hundreds of thousands of people, he washed his feet. He washed his feet to demonstrate to you and I and all of us that we are no different. And as our young youth leader, Aisha Abdul Jalil, she recited something very beautiful that God tells all of us in the Quran. He says that we were all originated from one father and one mother. And so that truly makes us brothers and sisters in humanity. Well, there goes my speech. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he said something very beautiful, which is very relevant to what my brother David Sincere just mentioned. He said that none of you will truly believe. None of you will truly believe until you love for your brothers and sisters in humanity what you love for yourself. And who amongst us does not love mercy? Who amongst us does not love justice? Who amongst us does not love love? Who amongst us does not want to feel welcomed and a sense of belonging? You know, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he said something else as well. He said that none of you will believe until you love one another. So we find that if we want to succeed as human beings, as one human family, we have to begin to love one another. And we have to begin to see each other as brothers and sisters of this one human family. You know, as the strands of the sugarcane plant work seamlessly to provide strength and sweetness, so too are the members of the Sugarland community part and parcel of the strands that beautify and strengthen our beloved city of Sugarland. And if we want to find ourselves in a perpetual state of success, we have to perpetually stand in solidarity with humanity. When Ustad Safiya was giving us time limits, I heard 35 minutes. Is that correct? Right? Alhamdulillah. But from the bottom of my heart, honorable guests, elected officials, faith leaders, I want to welcome you. And I want to present the peace and blessings of God upon all of you. And I want to congratulate you from the bottom of my heart that we have taken a step in the direction of standing in solidarity with humanity. Thank you very much. I can't leave just yet. I need to welcome our beloved Mayor, Joe Zimmerman, who has been serving this community for over 2 decades. And he has been an integral part of us being able to establish our water line and our sewage line. And we're on the final end of this. And so with your congratulations today, with your applause, can we convince him to get this done in the month of Ramadan? Thank you very much. Welcome, welcome, Mayor Joe Zimmerman. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings be with each of you. It's a real pleasure for Nancy and I to join you this evening on your iftar. I don't think I'll need that mic. One of the things that I wanted to share with you tonight was, you know, when this nation was created, this nation was founded on the principle that, and I'm going to go ahead and quote it out of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I believe those words have never been more true in 1776 than they are now. And for all of us, what makes this the greatest nation in the world is that we share the common belief that we're created equal and that we all want life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for not only our spouse and our families, but for our fellow brothers and sisters. And that is what I believe we need to return to. And if we return to those founding principles that were the basis of this nation being created, that we'll be able to turn around a lot of the divisiveness that we now see. All of us as elected officials, I think, share one thing in common, and that is we are a servant of the people. I don't represent myself, I don't represent Nancy, I don't represent my family. I represent you all as my citizens, and I set aside many join you tonight.
Thank you very much, Mayor Joe Zimmerman. I'd like to call up District Attorney Brian Middleton of Fort Bend County.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. You know, I've spent a lot of time here at this Islamic Center. So much so that some of the people from my church have asked from time to time, have you converted? But it has had a profound impact on my life and in my family in particular. I have an 18-year-old daughter who's a senior at St. Agnes Academy, which is a Catholic school. She was so curious about why I spent so much time in mosques that she started asking questions, and we started sharing about Islam. And then I was surprised one day when I discovered her reading a Quran. She had purchased it on her own out of curiosity, trying to learn more about Islam. And, you know, I'm the type of person that I've always been curious and interested in other religions and other faiths. I try to read all the ancient texts, the Quran, the Bible, the Tao Te Ching. And one of the things, and I forget, I think it was Pastor Starkweather indicated, you know, what all these religions have in common is a concept that we come from God, right? The Bible says that we were made in the image of God. And so often, you know, we have different religions and we all basically have the same tenets and believe that we have a source being from which we come. And that we are, if we come from the same source, we are of the source. But too often, we look at each other and don't see that divine spirit. We look at the flesh and see our differences and forget the tenets that we share and that our nation and our religions were based upon. It's my belief when the Bible says that we were made in the image of God, he was talking about our souls and not our skin and not our flesh. And if we, as Christians or as Muslims, if we are able to see the divine in each person that you meet, if you see the source in every person, God, then we can have a better society. You know, how is it that I believe that I am a child of God, that I am from the source, I come from God, and not see my fellow man coming from that same person? It doesn't matter what we call our religion. We're all human beings and we all had some source, we had some beginning, and we all necessarily, whether you look at science or you look at religion, we have to come from that same source. So it's time for us to stop seeing our differences and seeing what we have in common and understanding and living up to our creed. You know, too often we go and we pray and then we leave and we mistreat our fellow man. That's the problem in America, is double standards. And when we're able to remain true to our creed, then we'll have peace. We'll have unity. And these are the ideals that we need to strive for. And one of the things that I think is so beautiful about Islam is the manner in which you worship and you pray. And I've been here on this carpet and I've watched the men line up side by side perfectly and go through the prayer. Such devotion, such reverence to God. And just like Pastor Starkweather was saying, even in my family, in our tradition, whenever I wanted something really bad, I knew I'd go to my mom, we'd start praying, and we'd start fasting. It's a part of my culture, it's a part of my tradition. And you see all these similarities, we just call them different names, but it's the same faith, it's the same spirituality. And as I always say, Allah is my God. There's only one God. It is my source being. It is your source being, and it doesn't matter what we call it is source being. So I'm honored to be here. I'm always honored to worship with you, and I have the utmost respect for Islam, and I thank you for this time.
Thank you so much for those beautiful words, District Attorney Brian Middleton. I'd like to introduce to you Constable Nabil Shaikh from Fort Bend County Precinct 4.
All right, Assalamu alaikum, my dear respected brothers, sisters, and elders. I would like to thank Maryam Islamic Center for hosting this Interfaith Iftar. I would like to thank all of our panelists, but most importantly, I would like to thank each and every single one of you that's sitting out here in our audience. For those who don't know me, my name is Nabil Shaikh, and I am your Fort Bend County Precinct 4 Constable. We are gathered here today as a sign of brother and sisterhood. It's a way we can all come together, not just as Muslims or Christians, but as servants to our Creator. Our nation has seen a great deal of trial over this past year, from social injustices to economic downfalls, for millions of Americans to the COVID-19 pandemic. As we begin to heal together as a nation, what better time to do so but during the holy month of Ramadan? You know, earlier today, my good friend Bridget Smith Lawson, our great county attorney, said to me, Iftar reminded her of a family reunion. She said, we all spend time together, eat, and celebrate. And I end with this. We all may be from different faiths, but remember one thing, we are all human. Ramadan Mubarak and Ramadan Kareem. And before, I think Captain Nasser Abbasi walked out. I just wanted to give him a shout out, but he left before I can give him a shout out. Thank you, Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Constable Nabil Shaikh. I would like to introduce our next esteemed guest, Judge K.P. George of the Fort Bend County Commissioner's Court.
I'm trying to do too many things at the same time, multitasking. I'm trying. I know that women are good with that, but I was trying to do that upstairs to attend a Zoom meeting, and along with that, I just made it look like. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. It is absolutely an honor and privilege to come and talk to you all. I am KP George, Fort Bend County Judge. With your help, 2019 I took office in Fort Bend County, and since then we are able to do a lot of things. And we are here to celebrate the Islamic holy month, Ramadan. And I just want you to know that I grew up in a little village in South India where there was one mosque, one temple, and a church. And so we celebrated Ramadan, we celebrated Diwali, and also we celebrated Christmas or Easter. So I grew up with all these different cultures, so I understand you. I understand you very well, where you come from, and your faith and things of that nature. And it is, we all know that when we talk about Ramadan, it is about we are stopping and reflecting on us, trying to better connect with God, and self-control, expressing kindness, resolving conflicts, spiritual renewal, purification. Of course, charity is one of the most important part of we are going to do during Ramadan, and reflecting back. And I think it is one of the best thing we can do. And I also partially fasting with you all, and I also decided not to eat heavy food during day for 30 days, so that I just wanted to see how it worked. So I am with you on this. I just wanted to, I'm not going to get into the specific details of Ramadan and things of that nature. I'm sure you already listened to a lot of people and they already explained. But I just want you to know that, maybe a couple of things concerns you in Fort Bend County. With 52,000 people in the 1970 census, we are around 860,000 people today. And when it comes to last year, a disease, COVID, came and stopped everything. And I'm very proud to announce today more than 50% of Fort Bend residents got at least one shot of COVID vaccine. And that is eligible. That is 400 plus thousand people and got COVID vaccine. And also along with, we were able to care for people and we focused on testing. And we are in the top 5 in state of Texas when it comes to testing per capita basis. And also, I don't know, that with your help, we are number 1 when it comes to census response in state of Texas. Fort Bend County is number 1. That's not an accident. We all work together with the community and things of that nature. I believe while we are sitting here and celebrating and connecting with God, and also we have a responsibility, He directs us to be a good citizen, and I think it's all part of that. We are going to be talking, and I just wanted to say there are so many wonderful things we are trying to do and we continue to do in Fort Bend County. And I just also say this, Maryam Masjid is not a new place for me, and I always used to come at least last 10, 12, 15 years now. And last election cycle, you had a problem with Fort Maryam Masjid being a polling location. We kind of fixed that. We were able to fix that problem. Maryam Masjid was a polling location. And also, I don't know, last week, I was not able to make it, but you had mobile COVID vaccine was here, right? I believe that is correct. And so we wanted to reach out to our community. We are trying to do whatever the best we can, and I just need your help and support in that, and we need to be united together so that we could continue to address our issues in Fort Bend County. And once again, what an amazing event is organized by Maryam Masjid and its authorities, an Interfaith Iftar. And I think it cannot get any better than that. And this is, we see all faith, all walks of life. And Fort Bend is the most diverse county in the country, maybe. 122 languages are spoken, and we live in harmony. And I tell you one more thing, during COVID that's when I realized the importance of faith community. Imam, you were on so many of our conference calls and Zoom meetings, and many of the people I see here, they all were, because we realized you are the center of influence, and we wanted to connect with, and we will continue to do that. I just wanted to say Assalamu alaikum, and I just wanted to say Ramadan Mubarak, and I will celebrate Ramadan with you all, and let's all celebrate, because Fort Bend County is a very special place. Let's continue to work hard to make Fort Bend County even a better place for us, our children, and generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge, for those wonderful words, and all of you that have spoken. I want to take this time to give you a little bit of light about Maryam Islamic Center. Maryam Islamic Center is one of the only centers in the country that is part of Islamic Society of Greater Houston. Islamic Society of Greater Houston serves 22 centers. This allows us, for the Muslims across the city, to come together and serve humanity with one another. And with our esteemed zonal director and our executive body member, I wanted to invite Anwar Wadiwala, Brother Anwar Wadiwala, to also say a few words, inshallah, and after which we're going to have Brother Faizan as well, mashallah, to come say a few words, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm sure you all know my name. I've been around for so many years. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate all your, especially Mrs. Nancy Zimmerman. She's always here. Every time we invite her, she's never turns us down. So I really appreciate Joe and Nancy. And I'd like to say one thing. Since we started the Ramadan, all the Islamic Society, all the major massages in our city, we all have a food drive. Like we give out food to everybody who needs it. So this is a tradition that we started, and we've been doing it for the last few years. So if you know somebody who's in need of food, please just let them know that come to Maryam Masjid, and inshallah we'll accommodate them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Anwar, for those beautiful words. And we all as Muslims, as human beings, as members of this beautiful city, we all strive to work together to facilitate ease and mercy for all of the congregates on this earth. And that is inevitably our objective. And I would also like to welcome Brother Faizan Atiq, who is the General Secretary, the Treasurer of Islamic Society of Greater Houston.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, welcome everyone. Even though I am on the board of the Islamic Society of Greater Houston, this is home for me. This is where I go for my regular practice, practicing my religion, practicing my faith, and my daily prayers and things like that. So I love the fact that we're doing this. This is a very emotional time for us. And the reason being, exactly 1 year ago, when this holy month, which is the most holy month for all of us, started, we couldn't come to these places of worship. We had to shut everything down. So the fact that a year later, we're able to be here, although in a much smaller number than we would love to be, is just mind-boggling. It's amazing. It's a huge blessing from God, that the fact that we're able to be here, and it's extremely emotional for all of us. So, I can't thank God enough, and thank everyone who's here enough, that you all are here, because we're able to come back to normalcy, albeit one step at a time, and get there, and be able to get back to practicing our religion, practicing our brotherhood, practicing our sisterhood, and everything else so well. So, like I said, I'm extremely excited. I'm very, very happy that we're able to, host this event. We would love to have hundreds of people like we typically do. The folks who've been here before, you remember, this would be like a 600-700 people event. We would have the whole lawn filled with people. But the fact that, we can't do that anymore, but I'm still happy that we're hosting this. And so I really thank the management of this center to take this step and actually to host this, to show the community that we're getting back to normal, inshallah, and very soon we'll be able to get at capacity. But thank you for being here. Thank you for all of you coming to the center. Thank you, pastors as well. I think it's your first time here at the masjid, so I welcome you, and I hope you're able to come back again and be our guests, just like everybody else who's been here a repeated number of times. Thank you all.
We want to thank all of you once again for coming and joining us. Can we get a round of applause for all of the people that have spoken today? Can we get one more for the mayor so we can get our pipeline done this month? Awesome. Insha'Allah, the real one. We will get it done this month, insha'Allah. With that being said, please join us in prayer. God, we ask you today to grant us ease and tranquility. We ask you to allow us to stand united with our fellow brothers and sisters in humanity. We ask that in this blessed month of mercy, that you energize us through your Spirit, that you protect us through your might, and that you make us successful in serving your creation through your will and for your pleasure alone. We ask you that you make our communal affairs easy on us. Allow us to uplift one another and stand in solidarity with humanity. We ask that you bless our families and our loved ones, our neighbors and our elders, our children and our futures. We ask you, God, that you illuminate our hearts and our minds, purify our intentions, and grant us sincerity in our actions. We ask you, God, that you soften our hearts and allow us to empathize with the disenfranchised. Uplift those that are needing a hand and offer a shoulder for those needing to let out their tears. We ask you, God, that you allow us to love your creation in the way in which you would like us to love them, to serve them, and to want for them better than what we want for ourselves. We ask you, God, that you demonstrate for us and to show us the right way forward. Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt, wa afina fi man afayt, wa tawallana fi man tawallayt, wa barik lana fi ma a'tayt, wa qina wasrif anna sharra ma qadayt, fa innaka taqdi wa la yuqda alayk, fa innahu la yadhillu man walayt wa la yu'izzu man adayt, tabarakta rabbana wa ta'alayt. نستغفرك اللهم من جميع الذنوب ونتوب إليك. We ask you, God, that you bless this community, that you bless this congregation, and that you bless all those that have come today. We ask you, God, that you allow us to continue striving in all of our efforts to maintain and establish solidarity with humanity. We ask you, God, that you allow us to serve our neighbors. We ask you, God, that you allow us to see yourself in your fellow creation. We ask you, God, that you allow us to serve your creation in the way that you would allow us to serve them. We ask you, God, that you remove any and all other motives and directives from our hearts, but to sincerely serve them. Together we say Amen. Inshallah, because we're in the state of COVID, we have to-go boxes, we have boxes of iftar. We will not be physically breaking fast together, but we stood here together, we came together, and God willing, we will be able to rise up against any and all challenges that face our beloved community together. Thank you so very much for coming. It really, truly does mean a lot that in the midst of this pandemic, we were able to come together simply to stand tall together. Thank you very much. We also have gift baskets for our esteemed guests. I want to ask Fariha and her family to come and yes, absolutely.
Like any good politician, the first time it was asked, I missed it. Well, the second time, I picked up on it. Let me share with you where we are with providing water and wastewater. We had two options on the water side. Wastewater was relatively easy. We've got that taken care of. On the water side, we had two options, basically to go west or to go east. We're going to go east. So the engineers have now been released. That work will move very quickly. The city of Sugar Land has already blessed the design. We blessed both designs, realizing that we had to pick one of those options. One of those options weren't really up to us. They weren't really up to y'all. They were actually up to some of the people that own some of the land. They made it pretty easy. So we're moving forward. We'll continue to push that project. I'll continue to push that project as your mayor, and we'll get it done. But I want you to have confidence. It's been approved, and we've released the engineer, your engineer. We've released your engineer to complete the design. Once the design's completed, we'll go to bid, we'll get it constructed, and I know God willing, everything will turn out well. We look forward to the expansion. You all have been very patient, and we appreciate that. And thank you very much.
Would like to have Judge George share some really interesting stuff with us.
I thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I forgot to mention something. First time maybe in the history of Fort Bend County, we are celebrating Ramadan this year by doing something called an Islamic art exhibit at the courthouse. And this will be, each day we will be unveiling a specific Islamic art at the courthouse for 10 days from May 3rd till May 12th. And so I encourage everybody to come and visit. This is something we are trying first time. And so we like to have your support and prayers so that we could make this successful. Thank you.
Just as much as you all, we all love to take pictures. So this is a great time to take some pictures, God willing. If anybody wants to come up and take some pictures with our esteemed panelists, our elected officials, this is a beautiful time.
Assalamu alaikum. There is boxed food outside. You guys can grab it on your way out, whenever that may be. You can take 2 boxes each for the most part, but there's food outside on the way out.
أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين